Text the word water to 82727 or call 0800 088 7787. Please act now, because until we reach every child like Karim, they'll have no choice but to keep drinking dirty water that could kill them. Thank you.
John from work said it's a lovely hike.
Triathlon, John.
Yes.
Right, Rosie, can I have the boots bag? No, I meant the hiking boots bag. Did we not bring it?
Dad!
Such a shame.
Such a shame.
With our amazing range of skincare and free skin expertise online and in store, that's your skincare sorted.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure blinds, shutters and curtains at Blinds Direct. A huge selection of beautiful window dressings to suit every room. Handmade here in the UK with a 5-year guarantee for your peace of mind. Order your free samples today and choose your perfect design. Exclusively online, delivered direct to your door. Shop now for 30% off selected products at Blinds Direct. Create your dream home with blindsdirect.co.uk.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Sleepless for sports. We are reloading sports NDTV style with the biggest comeback this season. India's OG sports journalist on India's #1 news network.
No games, just sports.
Sports coverage levels up with Boria Majumdar on NDTV.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Namaste, hello, and welcome to the World Report on NDTV World. I'm your host, Priyanka Deo. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has met Chinese Vice President Han Zheng in Beijing. He's called for an open dialogue between the two countries amid what he described as a complex global situation. Jaishankar, who is in China to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Foreign Ministers meeting, expressed confidence that talks during his visit would help sustain the recent improvement in bilateral ties. That's a clear message there from Jaishankar calling for open dialogue. Could you take us through the EAM's agenda and what we can expect here?
SCO foreign ministers meet will be, because last month we saw that how when Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was there to attend the SCO Defence Ministers meet, there was difference of opinion when it came to issue the joint communique regarding the Pahalgam terrorist incident, and Rajnath Singh refused to sign that communique, and there was no joint statement where India was participant of that. Similarly, in this particular meeting of foreign ministers meet for SCO, the environment is the build up to that, with External Affairs Minister meeting the Vice President of China, and China also showing a kind of optimism by praising and saying that both India and China have to be good partners when it comes to the progress of the world or when it comes to meet the challenges, certainly shows that perhaps they are also softening their stand. And in this SCO foreign ministers meet, perhaps China will, or India and China both will be on the same page on multiple issues.
India's global influence is growing, and Singapore is backing that rise. After talks with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Singapore's Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan said that India is key in a shifting multipolar world. Jaishankar, on a high-level visit to Singapore, met the President, Deputy Prime Minister, and top officials to boost ties in tech, trade, and investment. Now, Singapore sits at the heart of India's Act East policy, and both sides agreed to hold the next ministerial roundtable in New Delhi soon. From here, Jaishankar heads to China, his first visit since the 2020 border standoff. But tensions remain, with Tibet issues still straining ties. India's diplomacy is on the move from Southeast Asia to the Indo-Pacific and beyond. Russia and China are stepping up their diplomatic game. On Sunday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Beijing. The top agenda: the war in Ukraine, U.S. relations, and global power balance. The two nations discussed the path to peace in Ukraine and vowed closer coordination on the world stage through the UN, BRICS, the G20, and more. China and Russia's No Limits partnership, first declared in 2022, continues to deepen even as the U.S. labels China a rival and Russia its top threat. A major announcement is coming on Russia from President Donald Trump. As frustration with Vladimir Putin deepens, Trump says he's now strongly considering a tough new sanctions bill. The bipartisan Sanctioning Russia Act would give Trump sweeping power, including 500% tariffs on countries that buy Russian oil, including India and China. Senator Lindsey Graham, who introduced the bill, says it is a, and I quote, sledgehammer to isolate Putin's war machine and pressure Moscow into ending the Ukraine war. The president, who once held back in hopes of diplomacy, now appears ready to hit hard. Trump also authorized more weapons for Ukraine, signaling a shift from patience to pressure. Meanwhile, U.S. envoy Keith Kellogg heads to Kyiv as Capitol Hill gains momentum for economic warfare. Trump says the decision is his alone, but with bipartisan backing, the message is clear that Washington is preparing to strike back with tariffs and tougher sanctions. A new Senate report has slammed the Secret Service for multiple unacceptable failures during last summer's assassination attempt on then-former President Donald Trump. The report states that this was not a single mistake, but a, and I quote, cascade of preventable failures that nearly cost Trump his life at a Pennsylvania rally. Gunman Thomas Crooks fired 8 shots, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others before being stopped. Shockingly, the Secret Service was aware of suspicious behavior nearly 45 minutes before the shooting, but failed to act or properly secure the venue. The Senate criticized the agency for poor communication, ignored warnings, and a disturbing lack of accountability. 6 agents have been suspended without pay, but the Senate calls these penalties far too weak and demands stronger disciplinary actions for those responsible. Senate leaders say that the American people deserve a Secret Service that never allows such a security breakdown, especially when a president's life is on the line. The report also highlights how ignored requests for more security personnel and resources worsen the agency's failure. Now lawmakers are pushing for sweeping reforms to prevent any future attacks. Tech billionaire Elon Musk just blasted President Trump for defending Attorney General Pam Bondi in the Jeffrey Epstein case, calling on the administration to just release the files as promised. Musk accused the government of hiding evidence of abuse involving thousands of children, while Trump fired back on social media, urging supporters to let Pam Bondi do her job and dismissing Epstein as a distraction. But tensions are boiling over behind the scenes. Reports say that there's a fierce feud between FBI leaders and Bondi, with whispers of resignations as well as internal clashes over the Epstein investigation. Bondi's memo says no client list implicating powerful figures was found, disappointing many of Trump's own base who expected a major reveal. As Trump doubles down defending Bondi, critics like Musk demand transparency. The question is, will the files ever see the light of day? NATO Security General Mark Rutte is headed back to Washington next week for high-stakes meetings with U.S. leaders. Rutte will meet President Donald Trump, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Monday as well as Tuesday. No official agenda has been released, but this visit comes just days after Trump told NBC News he's ready to send U.S. weapons to Ukraine through NATO and teased a major announcement on Monday. So far, Trump's administration has only sent arms previously approved by former President Joe Biden, a strong supporter of Ukraine. Eyes will be on Washington for sure and NATO as the war in Ukraine as well as the alliance's next moves take center stage. The Supreme Court will hear a crucial plea today urging the center to act fast to save Nimisha Priya, an Indian nurse facing execution in Yemen. The petition filed by Save Nimisha Priya International Action Council warns her execution could happen as soon as July 16th. The group is calling for immediate diplomatic intervention and use of blood money under Sharia law to halt the sentence. Advocate Subhash Chandran says the government's response has been slow and unclear. He also pushed back on claims that $40,000 in compensation had been paid to the victim's family, calling it only a pre-negotiation fee. The Supreme Court has asked for the Attorney General's opinion and requested a full report from the center on steps taken so far. This case is now a race against time, with a life hanging in the balance. Democratic lawmakers condemned Florida's new Everglades Immigration Detention Center after visiting on Saturday, describing it as crowded, unsanitary, and bug-infested. Republicans on the same tour said they saw nothing of the sort at the remote facility that officials have dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. The state-arranged tour came after some Democrats were blocked earlier from viewing the 3,000-bed detention center that the state rapidly built on an isolated airstrip surrounded by swampland. So many state legislators and members of Congress turned up Saturday, and they were split into multiple groups.
We saw people, of course, yelling for help. We even heard in the background someone yell, "I'm an American citizen." They started chanting "Libertad," freedom, liberty. And I gotta tell you, it was very emotional.
Emergency crews have suspended their search for victims of catastrophic flooding in central Texas amid new warnings that additional rain will again cause waterways to surge. Ingram Fire Department officials ordered search crews to immediately evacuate the Guadalupe River corridor in Kerr County until further notice, warning the potential for a flash flood is high. Search and rescue teams have been searching for missing victims of the July 4th weekend flooding that killed at least 129 people and left more than 170 missing. As heavy rain fell Sunday, National Weather Service forecasters warned that the Guadalupe River could rise to nearly 15 feet by the afternoon, about 500 feet above flood stage. Czech firefighters from a specialized team headed to Texas on Sunday to help search for missing people in areas affected by catastrophic flooding. The group includes sinologists with rescue dogs, among other experts. They set off from the military airport in Kbely, Prague, passing through the U.S. airbase Ramstein in Germany. A small aircraft crashed at London Southend Airport on England's southeast coast on Sunday afternoon, triggering a large-scale emergency response and flight cancellations. The London Southend Airport will remain closed until further notice, and there has been no confirmation on the number of casualties. Russian forces continue to launch airstrikes on Ukrainian military industrial facilities, while Ukraine reported concentrated attacks in the Pokrovsk direction, the two sides said on Sunday. According to the daily briefing of Russia's defense ministry, its troops had taken control of two settlements in the Donetsk region while targeting Ukrainian defense industry facilities, drone operator training centers, as well as temporary deployment points. Meanwhile, Ukraine's general staff acknowledged intense fighting across the front lines with 97 combat engagements recorded by Sunday afternoon. Pokrovsk direction remained the most active conflict zone, where Ukrainian forces claimed to have repelled multiple Russian strikes.
Which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it.
North Korea is all in on Russia's war in Ukraine. On Saturday, Kim Jong-un met Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Wonsan, offering full unconditional support for Moscow's actions in Ukraine. State media described the meeting as warm and comradely. Kim praised Vladimir Putin's outstanding leadership and said Russia is fighting to defend its dignity and interests. Pyongyang has already sent troops and weapons back to Russia. Lavrov thanked the heroic North Korean soldiers and said President Putin hopes to meet Kim again soon. The visit highlights growing military and political ties between the two heavily sanctioned regimes, now challenging U.S. influence across Asia and beyond. French President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday announced 6.5 billion euros, that's $7.6 billion, in extra military spending in the next 2 years because of new and unprecedented threats. The French leader laid out the spending plans in a sweeping speech calling for intensified efforts to protect Europe and to support Ukraine in its war against Russia's full-scale invasion. He said France will aim to spend 64 billion euros in annual defense spending in 2027, the last year of his second term. That would be double the 32 billion euros in annual spending when he became president back in 2017. Relatives of hostages held in Gaza and activists demonstrated on Sunday evening outside the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem, asking for a deal for the return of all remaining hostages. Among them, the father of an Israeli-American hostage who was killed in captivity in Gaza thanked President Donald Trump for bringing back hostages held in Gaza and added, and I quote, "We know you can do more."
Presidents Trump and Mr. Witkoff, we all thank you. You've brought home 33 of our brothers and sisters, and we know you could do more. And we want you to know that the overwhelming majority of the people of Israel have spoken loudly and clearly. We want to do a deal, even at the cost of ending this war. And we want to do it now, and we are praying and hoping that you will help get it done. Thank you.
A brutal mob killing in the heart of Bangladesh has sparked outrage and protests across the country. 7 people have been arrested so far in connection with the lynching of scrap trader Lal Chand, also known as Sohag, near Dhaka's Mitford Hospital on July 9th. Disturbing video shows the victim being beaten with concrete slabs, his attackers even dancing on his body after confirming that he was dead. Authorities say the murder stemmed from a business dispute. A nationwide operation is now underway to track down all suspects. 2 more were arrested Saturday night, and the case is being moved to a speedy trial tribunal. Hundreds of students took to the streets in protest, blaming the interim government for failing to curb rising mob violence. Today, the Axiom 4 mission astronauts, including India's own Shubhanshu Shukla will undock from the International Space Station, heading back to Earth. Splashdown expected tomorrow off California's coast. At a heartfelt farewell ceremony yesterday, Shukla described India as full of ambition, fearless, confident, and proud from space, echoing Rakesh Sharma's iconic words from 41 years ago. He called his 18-day journey magical and full of memories to inspire millions back home. Before undocking, Shukla shared gratitude for the international teamwork as well as scientific milestones achieved while on board. Time we slip into a quick break. Much more on the other side. Stay tuned.
I think that there's something that's always there that I just need to uncover. It's like I know I'm gonna get there, but I have to be patient with myself. That's probably the scary part for me. And it's okay, like if you completely pivot and change. You know, you have to be comfortable with that.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
Namaste and welcome back. Trade tensions between the U.S. and Europe are heating up fast. President Trump has announced a looming 30% tariff on most European imports, set to kick in August 1st. But the European Union isn't rushing to retaliate just yet. Instead, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is hitting the brakes, extending the pause on countermeasures until early August, hoping cooler heads prevail and a deal can be struck. Germany is calling for calm and practical solutions, while France wants a tougher stance, warning of serious damage to its key industries like cheese exporters who could face huge losses. Both sides are still locked in talks, but the clock is ticking, and if no deal is reached, the EU is ready to strike back hard. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said Sunday that U.S. tariffs would hit the German export economy to the core. Speaking in the annual summer interview to ARD television, Merz spoke about the importance of sensible lines of communication with U.S. President Donald Trump and unity within the European Union. The comments come after Trump announced 30% tariffs against the EU as well as Mexico. Billionaire Elon Musk's Tesla is set to open a showroom in Mumbai on Tuesday, July 15th. This marks the U.S. electric car maker's first official foray into the country. The 1.5-hour launch event for the Tesla Experience Center will take place at the Maker Maxcity Mall in Bandra Kurla complex. Along with the showroom display, which will feature the company's cars, Tesla is also likely to officially launch direct sales to Indian customers. Charu gets the latest from the Maximum City.
It's finally official. Tesla Inc. is coming to India with its first showroom, that too in the business capital of the country, Mumbai, and it's going to be situated right here in Maker Maxcity near Geo World Drive in Bandra Kurla complex. Now we must also understand that this is a story that was broken by NDTV Profit few months back, where we told our viewers that Musk-led Tesla is going to be coming to BKC in area that is being rented for a security deposit of over 2 crore rupees and a monthly rent of over 35 lakh rupees, and this is going to annually increase by 5%. We must also understand that the company already has a registered office in Viman Nagar in Pune, and that is the office that they have given as the licensor, whereas the licensee is going to be Unico Properties LLP. Now the showroom is going to be open for the public from Tuesday, which we will be covering closely. But as you can see, right behind us, the preparations for Tuesday are undergoing. And there is a funny and slightly interesting anecdote here, as we will tell you. Apple's showroom is also right near this building, in the building right adjacent to Maker Mac City, which is, you know, Geo World Rise building. And as per several reports that we came out in the previous months, we must also understand that Apple was not very keen on having Tesla as its neighbor. So let's see how the comradeship rolls out. Let's see how excited the people are. Let's see how the showroom develops and how the other developments roll out further.
The world number one, Jannik Sinner, has dethroned world number two, Carlos Alcaraz, to clinch the Wimbledon 2025 men's singles title. Sinner beat Alcaraz 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 to become the first Italian man to win Wimbledon in the competition's 148-year-old history. It ends Alcaraz's dreams of winning a hat-trick of Wimbledon titles and gives Sinner his fourth Grand Slam. Sinner also becomes the first man to beat Alcaraz in a Grand Slam final. After 5 straight wins for Alcaraz, Sinner's finally clinched a huge victory in the head-to-head record between the two. In the match, Alcaraz came back from 2-4 down to break Sinner twice and clinch the first set 6-4. However, Sinner showed nerves of steel to break Alcaraz at crucial junctures, winning 3 sets in a row to claim his first Wimbledon crown. U.S. President Donald Trump handed Chelsea the Club World Cup trophy after the Premier League side beat Paris Saint-Germain in the final of the tournament's new expanded format. Chelsea midfielder Cole Palmer scored twice and fed João Pedro for a goal as Chelsea overwhelmed Paris Saint-Germain in the first half and beat the European champions 3-0 in the final of the first expanded Club World Cup. Trump presented the trophy to Chelsea captain Reece James and stood alongside FIFA president Gianni Infantino during the post-match ceremony. England bounced back in a sensational manner to put India in trouble during the third test at Lord's London. The match seemed to be in India's grip when the visitors bowled out England for 192 runs in the latter's second innings, getting a target of 193. But England's superb bowling turned the tables. Bryden Carr struck twice, while Jofra Archer and Ben Stokes picked 1 wicket apiece as India ended the fourth day at 58 for 4, needing more than 135 runs to win. KL Rahul, who was 33 and not out, showed resilience, but other top-order batters from India failed to put up a fight. Notably, both India and England scored 387 each in their respective first innings. Drake's 3-day show at the Wireless Festival in London ended on a sour note after the final show ended in 40 minutes. He rushed through hits like One Dance and Controlla, and fans found it hard to sing along to. While some fans defended him, saying he had already performed for 2 days before and perhaps the last one was meant to be shorter, others were disappointed, especially the ones who came for the final night. Some say they waited longer in line than they saw him perform. Disabled fans also faced a problem at the exit. The festival is yet to respond. That's all we have for you today. Take care. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Priyanka Deo, signing off. Namaste.
Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo, the site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
At Cheerios, we know mornings can be challenging. So having a delicious breakfast that's high in fibre from oats, wheat and barley, that's a little win. Cheerios, little O's make little wins.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring, because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this, bite that. I'll never forget our first date. Huge grin on his face as he rode up on that big noisy thing. And that's exactly the way he'd want to be remembered.
At Co-op Funeral Care, we offer a choice of funerals including direct cremation. We're right by you when you need us. Search online, call us or visit your local funeral home.
The Harry's starter set. Get our trim and razor, shave gel and travel cover with 30% off and free delivery. Harry's. Feel good, fellas.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Vishnu, 9 years till the AMCA comes online, the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which is India's own stealth fighter project. 9 years is an eternity in fighter technology, especially given what we've been seeing in the last few years, whether it comes to, drone tech, drone warfare, manned, unmanned teaming, which we've spoken about in a previous episode, the sheer scale of the network and how it's becoming very much part of the future battlefield. I'm wondering whether 9 years from now, what we perceive to be a fifth generation aircraft is going to look like vintage stuff.
And what's more, we want to crack a century on debut with our first stealth fighter. What are the chances of that happening? The number of technologies which you need to master. It's not just low observability, but reliability of the engine, integration of the GF414 engine onto that platform, if indeed that's the engine that's finally selected. The radar itself will be new build. We made a lot of progress as far as that is concerned. But weapons integration with the latest generation Astra missiles, presumably, all of that has to work. A stealth platform isn't just low observable, it's also got distributed arrays. In other words, it's got radars and other sensors, electro-optical sensors located across the platform. So that the pilot over there uses the aircraft not just as a fighter, but as a sensor. It is a sensor within a group of sensors which acquire information, pass it on through data links, and use it to exploit airspace, hit targets in the air or on the ground or out at sea. All of those sensors, radars, technology, low observability, the fly-by-wire control system, the new generations of weapons that you've got online, they all have to work all together. Because otherwise, after 10 years, if it doesn't work all together, you're tinkering with it and you're fixing it, and you get into a situation where it's taken 15, 20 years for this to actually be the way you want it, then you're already far behind the curve. Look at how far behind the curve we are with the Tejas. I love the aircraft. The engineering is excellent. The made in India AESA radar is actually quite good. The fly-by-wire quadruple redundant is superb, right? The platform is ancient. The weapons carriage is ancient. The range is insufficient. It was built as a MiG-21 replacement. The Pakistanis have now got the J-10, which is not even a fifth generation aircraft, and are acquired